Hey guys, it's Tahira, and today I'm doing my November wrap-up. Also, I got a new camera. After like 2 years, I finally upgraded to a better video quality, and I hope this is better. And I also, for the first time, I have a viewfinder. So if I'm looking in that a lot, it's because I'm not used to this camera. So I apologize, I'll try not to look into it too much. But yeah, today I'm doing my November wrap-up, and in the month of November, I actually read 8 books, which is so amazing. Like, I was kind of in a reading slump for the past few months, and finally I read so much this month, and I'm so happy about that. Even though November is a pretty busy month with school, and it's like nearing the end of the semester, so there's like a lot of assignments and projects and essays, and I'm really happy that I read a lot this month. So I'm just gonna start telling you about what I read this month. So the first book I read in the month of November is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. If you did not know, Kingdom of Ash is the final book in the Throne of Glass series. It's the 8th book, and I actually have a full spoiler review and a reading vlog for this book, so I'll link both of those down below if you're interested in all my thoughts and emotions and feelings while I was reading this book. But I give this 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was so amazing. I thought it was the perfect finale. I'm really glad that Sarah like ended it the way she did. She did such good closure for each character and really told us about what's happening after the book, and I really enjoyed that. Basically, to make my review shorter, the only thing that I didn't really like was that everyone was defeated really easily. But I think like overall in the book that didn't really matter that much. There was so much more character development and so much more closure for each character, which I really enjoyed, and I'm really happy about that. The second book I read in the month of November is Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. Speak is about a girl named Melinda, and she is hated by all her friends and everybody at her school because she busted an end-of-year party by calling the cops. Now, what people do not know was that she was actually raped at that party, but she never told anyone, and it's basically a story as she goes through the emotions, and the story is about how she deals with her school and her trauma. I give this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. The one thing I did not absolutely love was the writing style. I don't know, the writing style, if you can see, I don't even know, but it's just very like abrupt. There's very spaced out paragraphs, and it jumps a lot between time. So like one paragraph will be her at school, and then it'll jump to her being at home, and it was very abrupt in that, and I kind of get why the author did it, to show a really raw and emotional story. I thought it was abrupt, and I feel like I could have had more of a flow to it, but I really enjoyed it, and I think it's a really important book. The next book I read, which I absolutely adored, was A Very Large Expanse of Sea by tahira-z. A Very Large Expanse of Sea follows a girl named Shireen, and she moves to a new town, and she goes to this high school, and she deals with a lot of Islamophobia because this book is set post 9/11 in the year 2002, and it follows her in her journey at her school, and she faces a lot of Islamophobia because she is also wears the hijab. She faces a lot of racism because of that, but then she meets a boy named Ocean who truly sees her for herself, and it's a cute love story. I give this book 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it, and this is actually the arc. I read this book from the library, but then I loved it so much that I really wanted a copy of it. And then a woman named Nicole and on Twitter was kindly doing a giveaway to give this book away to a Muslim teenager. So thank you so much for sending me an arc of this book, because I absolutely loved it. I love how it talked about Islamophobia, and I really loved how it talked about her Muslim experience, because she wears the hijab and religion is really important for her. I also loved the cutesy romance between her and Ocean, and I think by her experience, the harrowing experience she had as a Muslim teen in 2002 post 9/11, what really made this book shine for me, and I absolutely loved it, and I can't wait to reread it again and again in the future because it's just so important. And it can be a bit cheesy at times with the romance, but I still think it's a really important topic to talk about, especially because of the current climate in the United States right now. So, but I think that this book is really good, and I think everyone should read it because it's really important to our current time today. The next book I read from the library was Here to Stay by an author that I forgot the name of. Oh my god. Here to Stay follows a boy named Bijan, who is a Muslim Middle Eastern teenager that goes to a school, and basically the story starts off with him scoring a winning basket for his team, and he gains a lot of fame for that at his school, but then everyone receives an email where he is portrayed as a terrorist, and he faces a lot of Islamophobia because of that. So the story is basically basically how he deals with that situation and and his relationship with his friends and the people around him. I give this book a 3.75 out of 5 stars. I liked it enough, but it just felt a little lacking for me. Like, in the beginning, it talked about his terrorist, but then, like, the terrorist picture, and then it completely, like, started talking about other things and didn't really focus on the main issue and the main conflict, and then until the very end. So I wish it just talked about a little more about his experience and the main conflict a little bit more, because it kind of diverged away from that a little more. But I actually really enjoyed the book. I thought it was really insightful, and it's actually the first book where I've read about a Middle Eastern Muslim like a boy teenager. Like, the only Muslim books I read have female main characters, and this one was a boy, which was really interesting to read about, and I really enjoyed this book. Just a few things I didn't like, but overall it was pretty enjoyable. The next book I also got from the library, but I already returned, and that is Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. It was fantastic. I loved that it talked about just so many important issues. Girl Made of Stars was a girl and her twin brother, and one day her friend accuses her brother of raping her. The reason I'm saying girl is because I forgot her name, which I feel so bad about. I think her name was May. But yeah, May and her brother, they deal with this situation, and she's torn between believing her brother and believing her friend Hannah. And it's a really harrowing story, and like, throughout the story we also hear that the May herself was also sexually assaulted, so the story is really close to her heart. And this book was so amazing. I loved it, and it was such a harrowing experience to read about a girl that her brother, like her own family, was accused, and watching her struggle with wanting to believe her brother and wanting to believe her friend. I think this book is so important for our current time, especially with the Me Too movement and a lot of the sexual assault cases that are coming up. But yeah, the writing was amazing. I loved the cover. The cover is also so beautiful. Like, I want to own it. But yeah, the story itself was just so important and amazing and harrowing. And I'm so glad I read it, but I just can't even imagine what it felt like, what it feels like to be in that situation. The next book I read in the month of November was What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. This follows a boy named Arthur who is currently interning in New York, and he meets this cute boy named Ben at the post office, and they start a rocky love story. Basically, Arthur is trying too much and Ben is not trying enough, and it goes through their series of failed first dates as they try to navigate their relationship and figure out what they want. It's a really cute love story. We all know and love Becky Albertalli is really known for writing really happy stories, and Adam Silvera is known for writing sad stories. So I think I really love the blend of their characters in this. So Arthur meets Ben at a post office while Ben is mailing his ex-boyfriend's things back to him, and it's just really good. I give this book 4 out of 5 stars. The reason I took off a star is because sometimes it got a little boring and sometimes I wasn't really enjoying it as much, but overall I really enjoyed the story, and it was a really cute love story, and I'm so excited that Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera got together and wrote a book. So yeah, if you're looking for like the perfect rom-com set in New York, this is the book for you. The next book I read in the month of November was Wild Card by Marie Lu. Wild Card is the sequel to Warcross, and Warcross was one of my favorite books of all time of 2017 last year. And sadly, Wild Card was not as great. I give this book 3.5 out of 5 stars, and I thought some parts were really well done. I really enjoyed reading about Zero and his background and his backstory. And I just think that some, like, the characters were not as fleshed out in this book. We also don't get a ton of Hideo, which I really wanted. I wanted to see more of Emika and Hideo's interactions, especially after the end of Warcross. But yeah, it wasn't as interesting, and the only interesting part was Zero's backstory, which is one of the redeeming parts of the book for me. But other than that, it was pretty mediocre. I was kind of disappointed, especially after reading Warcross, because Warcross was like such a favorite of mine last year and I absolutely loved it, and I'm so sad that I can't love Wild Card just as much, because I just really wanted to love it, but sadly I did not. And you know, sometimes that happens, so but I'm disappointed in this one. And the final book I read in the month of November was Heretics Anonymous by Katie Henry. Heretics Anonymous I picked up like 2 days before November was over, and I really did not know if I would finish it, but I absolutely flew through this book. It was so amazing. Heretics Anonymous follows a boy named Michael who is an atheist, and he is going to Catholic school, and then one day in his class, a girl named Lucy stands up and challenges one of these stories of her religion, and he finally thinks that she is a non-believer like him, but she actually turns out to be a Catholic who actually wants to be a priest. But Lucy introduces him to a group called Heretics Anonymous, which is basically an underground anonymous group where people can be different and they meet together and they talk about the flaws of the school. It's a place where Lucy can be an outspoken feminist, Avi can be Jewish and gay, Max can wear whatever he wants, and Eden can practice paganism, and it's a place for them to come together and really talk about their differences and what makes them similar and different. I absolutely love this book so much. I give it 5 out of 5 stars, and I really think that Michael was such a good main character, and his humor, how this book brought up conversations about religion and differences, and how we can see each other as humans. They actually try to go public and they try to challenge their school's traditional values that they may not agree with, and I really loved that. I just loved this book so much. Like, it's such a fast read, it's so entertaining, and I was never bored while reading this book, which is fantastic. And the way that they challenged the school's values and flaws was really great. I love this book so much, and I'm so excited for anything that Katie Henry puts out because I am sure I'm gonna love it. But yeah, that is it for my November wrap up. Let me know down below what is your favorite book that you read in the month of November, as I would love to know. But that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye!